Hi, my name is Christy Bryant, and I'm going to explain my research topic, which is what is the impact of trauma and poverty on students' self regulation and academic achievement? First, we have to look at some of the reasons that they might not be able to self regulate. There's low intrinsic motivation, work avoidance, a lack of effort and responsibility, unresolved anger issues, and those could be from things they come about at school or things that happen at home, and a lack of food or sleep. Next is the why. Why am I doing this? I work at a Title I school. That's where at least three-fourths of the kids are on free and reduced lunch. I face many interactions every day with students in the hallways or in class, have unstructured time, and we face issues with poverty or situations where they have anger issues, and we have to deal with that. I also am a special ed teacher, so I co-teach in 4 language arts classes every day, and I'm already taking data on BIPs, which are behavior intervention plans, and I'm taking goal work for my students. So I do see some drops in, self-regulation or academic achievement. Also, we can all improve each year with the students that have needs. So why not try a better way to reach this demographic and try to improve ourselves? With my analysis, I do sometimes feel, I always feel it does affect their performance. But teachers don't always feel supported when they try to help these students. In my school in particular, we happened to reach a time frame where we got our hands slapped from county office for having too many write-ups because it's just our school. And so it was thrown back on us to just handle things in the classroom. And that can be hard. That can be very hard when you're trying to, teach a whole classroom and you've got 2 or 3 students that are constantly disruptive, can't self-regulate. So you have to come up with great strategies. So I think that if you hold very, very high expectations, are very organized, it does equal success. You're going to always have some high flyer outliers, but it's not always intentional for the child. They come from, in my school, very hard beginnings. We have a feeder boys ranch that is foster boys. We have a feeder girls foster home. We have a women's battered shelter that feeds into our school. And every story can be a very sad story, but you've got to teach them that your life can go one of 2 ways. You can have that sad story, or you can turn this ship around right here. What you do at school is what you do at school, right? You've got to turn that into success. So you've got to hold them to a high expectation and not have those volcano eruptions. Like I was saying, the volcano eruptions, they aren't usually intentional things the kids do, but if you can pinpoint that, find a trusted adult that they can go to, usually a counselor, a mentor, and it's not a daily thing. Sometimes they can get a hot pass. These are things you can talk to their special ed teacher about, or the counselor. And sometimes what works for one student doesn't work for all of them, but you can't let 99% of your class be disrupted by a student that can't self-regulate, that comes from a bad situation. So you've got to figure out what's best for everyone in that class. Some of my application that I think would help after all my years of teaching. I think we need a better teacher training for newer teachers. Not to knock anyone. I've just been put with a new teacher before. They didn't know what an IEP was, or like a lot of accommodations, and they get thrown a million things at them at the beginning of the school year. I think we need to understand what a BIP is, a behavior intervention plan, what an EBD kid is, a emotional behavior disorder child, because in my school they get pushed out into classes, and you've got to know. And a lot of those kids have the trauma of poverty. They have the trauma of, the self-regulation. I think we need to have a PD day, or, teachers getting together with regular ed teachers, like SPED and Gen Ed teachers need to get together to talk about accommodations in the IEP And how can we make those work? Just because it says preferential seating doesn't mean everybody needs to be up on the front row. If you've got 2 teachers, preferential seating could be one disruption in the back, one in the front, and 2 teachers, monitoring that. It can mean many things, but sometimes teachers don't know this, right? So we need a better, talking to of everyone getting on the same page, right? And that can make learning better for everyone. Okay. So also to end it, they come from a world of utter chaos, not having food, some sleeping in a car, literally where I come from, or a hotel room that our school is funding. They don't have rules sometimes. They don't have a routine. Give that to them. Give them strict rules, expectations, routines. They don't necessarily want the fun teacher, the bestie. Give praise when they meet your expectations. Take the time to get to know them. Hold them back from class for a minute and write them a pass to their next one. Don't dig in and be like, oh, are you poor? I'm not talking like that, but get to know them, what they like. Try to buy some of their favorite, rewards so that you can reward them after a good week. If you get to know them, they will respect you. At first, they're not going to like your teacher expectations, but I promise you, if you collaborate with your team and their parents or guardians, and they know eventually that everyone is looking out for them and their best, and you're making sure their schoolwork is done, that's the stability and the love they crave. And I promise you, in the end, it will work out for the best. I have seen it. It is possible. They don't want that unstructured chaos. It just gets them in trouble. That just gets them ISS. But that is where I think we need to come together and provide that stability for them. Thanks. This is my references page. It is divided into 2 because one got on the tail end of this one. Thank you.